Hi Lisa.
Hi.
I want to first thank you for meeting with me today to discuss how you're tracking at Houseworld.
Thank you for having me here.
It's my pleasure. I also understand that some of the interactions you faced at times have been quite daunting and difficult at your time. Hopefully today I can assist you and shed some light and discuss the competencies in which I believe you should work on. From what you have advised me, it appears that at times you struggle with controlling your emotions and hence can see self-regulation as being something that needs to be practiced and improved upon. Boston Sims highlight that employees who have good self-regulation suffer fewer failures in the workplace. Lisa, there were times when your reactions were quite destructive and at times unproductive. For example, when you approached Deborah with some questions and seeing her with Ron did make you somewhat upset and you assumed that time wasn't being made for you. Having this thought process shows a fixed negative mindset and at times can demotivate you to work. Now, let's also discuss motivation. Lisa, you lack the ability to shape sustainable motivations and take feedback positively in the context of substantial career transition from right away to Houseworld. You also lack the intrinsic motivation to stay in Houseworld and notice that your decisions are based on extrinsic motivations. You focus heavily on bettering work conditions and having professional training in a well-structured organisation. When all the external stimuli are stuck, you're sceptical of your own self-perception of your job choice and thus can be easily demotivated. Thirdly, you're unable to take on feedback from your colleagues in a positively manner and in turn it was received to yourself negatively. Lisa, your communication should also be discussed as in crucial times such as meetings you hesitate to confidently provide suggestions and find your emotions dictating how you communicate. This in turn, along with the other competencies, can also affect collaboration. This diagram also shows how all competency deficits relate to each other, such as your motivation, self-regulation, collaboration, and communication, all essentially stemming from having low self-regulation as affecting all other three competencies. Lisa, you're currently debating three alternatives. To continue to working with Deborah and Ron, or Linton Scottville, propose Jack to transfer you to another brand, or to leave Houseworld immediately. The best alternative for you, Lisa, is to remain in your current position and to address your issues. The second and third alternatives can have the potential of defining you as somewhat incompetent in the professional sphere and have the inability to solve issues and appears that you may be escaping from them. If you don't address the problems issued, you may end up finding yourself in similar situations whichever brand or company you move to. To begin with, the resilience framework will provide you a general guidance on how you can apply these skills, such as facing down the reality, finding meaning in this hardship, continuously improvising and managing your self-evaluation. It is important that you follow through with an action plan for each competency deficiency also. In terms of self-regulation, Anderson brought up the concept of self-talk technique to nurture mindfulness. It's also been established by Dane and Brummel, the importance of meditation as well. These two practices should be performed consistently and in the long term. As for communication, three main steps need to be taken. Firstly, propose meetings involving stakeholders to set the clear expectation of your role. Secondly, create a backup plan which opens the communication channel for yourself and your other managers. These two steps will need to be taken in the short term. In terms of the long term, practice some tools for effective communication, or also apply the 5 attributes of communication and the use of 4 ears. With regard to collaboration, you should mainly focus on the two relationships with Deborah and Ron. Try to express yourself and show your ability for working. For Ron, do not be aggressive or react to his emotions and cause him to think of him as an opponent. There are a few steps you can take to improve the problem of the issue of motivation. Firstly, develop full cognition of critical changes in the career transition from right away to Houseworld. Secondly, reconstruct the motivation by shaping more intrinsic stimuli and reduce the high need for achievement. And third, practice to take the feedback positively. You can also look to be explicit, be calm, be attentive, and be aware in your ability to improve your motivation. I do thank you for your time today, Lisa, and I do hope that you take into account what we have discussed.
Yeah, thank you so much.